Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nelly. As you know, we review literature, novels here, specifically African literature. So this month we've been looking at Uneasy Yoke by Dr. Kachinga Sichizya, and we're going to be doing the last part today. You see, it's going to be doing this tiny bit, this little bit. That's what has remained. So thank you for being here. Thank you for thank you for being here. If you're a new viewer, please subscribe to my channel so that each time I make new uploads, you receive a notification that I'm even failing to talk. You receive a notification that a new upload has been made. So just a recap from what we ended last time. Matthew went for work. He went to work in the mines. He was supposed to be there for 3 months, but he wanted to make more money, so he ended up staying for 6 months. After the first 3 months were done, his family and his fiancée and other villagers in both Sesengoma and Kasichia, most villagers thought he had died, because where he went to work, most people did not come back. Most people died in the mines. So after the first 3 months were over, everyone assumed that he had died, when in the actual sense he was just working. He was working harder and working longer hours. He even had a skill of sewing shoes. He learned a skill, and that skill brought him more and more money. So during this period when Matthew was away, Mwinji and Mwinji's family Mwinji kept hope that Matthew would definitely come back, but then she started having spiritual attacks. So she had weird dreams. I think all that information is in part 2. Please go through the videos, you're going to find it. So we continue from where we left off. So if you remember very well, Malinga had assaulted Msenga, Mwinji's brother. So he was arrested. He got arrested after his father was released. Then the police found Malinga. His father was released when the police caught Malinga and took him to prison. So during this period when Mwinji was engaged to Matthew, Malinga was in jail. He was in prison serving a sentence of, it was just supposed to be 3 months, but he tried to escape, so they had prolonged his sentence to like 6 months and more. So he worked harder. He even became a leader for the prisoners, so he worked really hard. He really wanted to come out of jail. He eventually was released from jail, and it's after his release that he started harassing Mwinji, telling her, I'm going to marry you regardless. So he was released whilst Matthew had traveled to for work at the mines. So each time he would find Mwinji, he would tell her, I'm going to marry you regardless. And it got from being physical to being spiritual. He even started appearing in her dreams. He would appear in form of a snake and all that. And it's because of that Mwinji decided to just tell her parents, say, take back the Inkundi to the Soso pickers, and then we bring back the Kwiwe's Inkundi. So Mwinji decided to break things off with the Sichones and accepted with the Simwanza, and accepted the Inkundi from the Kwiwe family, which is Malinga's Inkundi. So when all this is happening, Matthew is still at the mines. So after the second acceptance of the Kwiwe family, they didn't want to take time. They started processing the engagement and the marriage faster, because they had already done the major things the first time Mwinji and Malinga got engaged. So the second time they made things move really fast. So they quickly they wanted to do the ceremony very fast. So the whole arrangement started, the wedding preparations continued from where they left off, as if nothing happened before. So anyway, so the day now when the Kwiwe family had to come and get Mwinji, officially take her to their place, the final day of the wedding ceremonies. Remember, the Namwanga wedding ceremonies take 3 days. So on this day, Mwinji was supposed to be seen by her in-laws and taken to their place. Yeah, so she was covered in echitenge, and you know the traditional bridal situation that happens. While this is happening, Matthew was on his way back. He even had 2 other guys who helped him carry his suitcases, because he came back with so many presents, so many fitenges to give both his mother, his grandmother, and his in-laws. He didn't know what was happening. He didn't know that his bride had returned the excuse me, he didn't know that the engagement was broken. So he bought a lot of things, both for his family and for Mwinji's family. So while he was like on his way back, he heard people whispering, like they were talking about the wedding that was happening. And when he inquired further, he found out that this wedding is actually between Malinga and Matthew, between Malinga and Mwinji. And immediately he knew he had to do something about it. So he quickly rushed home, dropped his things, told his grandparents to put his suitcases in the house, like in the inner room. Then he rushed out to go and see what was happening. So he went to Mwinji's compound. Mwinji and him had a secret code that they had. Matthew would whisper, he would whistle, then she would come out. That's how he used to call her. So he went to the bathroom, at the back of the bathroom, at the thatched bathroom. He whistled, and Mwinji recognized the whistle right away. So she asked her Sengena Monje, who stayed right beside her. She asked her to, like, if she could excuse herself and she could go to the bathroom. And the Senge didn't have a problem, though she told her, saying, you cannot go alone since you're the bride. You have to go with 2 of your friends. So when they reached the bathroom, she told the friend, saying, no, don't enter. I want to be alone. I want to pee, then I'll come out. So when this whole wedding ceremony, Mwinji was not happy. She was just marrying Malinga for the sake of her family, especially her siblings, because Malinga had said attacking them spiritually. So she was not happy. So even when she was going to the bathroom, she put out a very sad face, like she was upset. She thought the friends remain. Anyway, so they remained outside. She entered the bathroom, then she jumped over, and that's how she found Matthew there. And Matthew told her, let's go. So they ran and they went to Matthew's cousin's place, like somewhere where none of her family members knew. So she went there. By the time the queer families were arriving, the bride was nowhere to be found. And there and then, they knew that something had gone wrong. So anyway, they started searching for Mwinji. They heard news that Matthew had come back, and they knew that was the reason as to why Mwinji was nowhere to be found. So commotion, there was so much commotion. Finally, Mwinji and Matthew were found. Matthew got into a fight with Malinga. That fight was so big, and it occurred in neither of their villages. It occurred in Matthew's cousin's village. I'm going to insert the name of the village. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten what the name of that village is. So because it occurred in a strange village, the headman for that village said, no, I can't pass a ruling because you guys are not from my village. So we're going to tell the queen chief, we're going to take this issue to the queen chief. That's what they used to call their overall ruler. They used to call her queen chief. So we're going to take this situation to the queen chief, then she would decide what's going to happen, because Malinga was saying this is my bride, Matthew was also saying this is my bride. So there was that confusion. So Matthew and Malinga got into the fight. Of course Malinga won. Matthew was not as strong as Malinga. So when news went to the queen chief, she sat them both down, then they talked. Then she ruled in favor of Matthew, because she said, no, Matthew engaged her first and he went for work and came back. So meaning you, Malinga, you are the one who is standing in between these two. So you have to go back and collect your inkundi, because you've gotten another man's wife. Now Malinga was not happy with this. He was so bitter. He was so angry. Malinga loved Mwinji from the time that they were young. And remember, Malinga was betrothed to Mwinji Mwinji was betrothed to Malinga from the time that she was in the womb. So Malinga really, really loved her. So eventually, he was still not happy. So Mwinji, the Nkunji was taken back, the bride price was taken back again. Then Matthew and Mwinji got re-engaged. Now, Malinga met Mwinji on his way, like back in Sesengoma in the evening. He met her in the evening and he was upset with her. So him and her got into a fight. That fight, he ended up raping her. Like he was so jealous that another man had gotten his wife, and he asked her saying, so has he slept with you? Then she said no, he hasn't. And he was so happy, so he raped her, and that's how he got her virginity. Now he raped her a week before her wedding, like her wedding with Matthew. So it was bad. And unfortunately, I don't know whether he had put medicine or he used medicine after raping her, but then he locked her vagina. He locked her vagina, meaning any man that would sleep with her after him would not get erect, or he would not be able to impregnate her. That's what he did to her. So this happened the week before her wedding with Matthew. So the day of the wedding, they do the preparations. He finished paying her bride price. Now it was the time for the wedding night. So remember, I had mentioned this earlier in another part. This is now the day of the wedding night. This is the third day, and the instructions by both the Nachimbuza on Matthew's side and the Nachimbuza on Mwinji's side, where they were supposed to get done with their sexual intercourse from the time the first cock crow to the last cock crow, and the last one is usually around 05. So during their time in that hut, Matthew fell asleep. He was tired, and he told her, no, wake me up, but then he couldn't perform, and that went on for weeks. Like the Nachimbuza would go in the hut and find nothing happened. So it started getting worrying, like he could not physically perform. Whenever he tries to penetrate his wife, he would not get a boner, and they were really attracted to each other. So nothing happened, and this started worrying both the families. Like, what's happening? Are we going to have a grandchild in this place? So now what his grandmother did, Sosopeka talks to the Nachimbuza. She told her, what can we do? Because we need to find out if he's impotent, or if there is an issue with his current bride. We need to find out what's going on. So Matthew and Mwaka, I don't know if I've mentioned Mwaka, but anyway, Mwaka was his friend's sister. And in fact, before Matthew engaged Mwinji, I think I mentioned that in part 2, he was almost engaged to Mwaka. But then he ended up engaging Mwinji. So Mwaka already had feelings for Matthew, they were close. They grew up like brother and sister, but then Mwaka wanted them to be something more. So his Nachimbuza, when she saw that this situation was getting out of hand, she talks to Mwaka, I want you to seduce him. After you seduce him, don't let it reach as far as intercourse. Just feel if he has a boner. If he has a boner, you can excuse yourself from the hut. Oh, okay. So she went and did what the Nachimbuza said. She seduced him. She felt he had a boner, and he too reacted to her seduction, and they ended up sleeping together. And it's at this point that Matthew knew that it's actually not a physical issue. So Mwaka got pregnant, and Sosopeka was so happy. Matthew and Mwinji became their marriage was not that great. They were arguing over any slight little thing, and she too was very moody. Their marriage was just not great. So he started drinking, and he was spending most of his time in Mwaka's hut. So then Mwinji was feeling really ugly. She decided to go to one of the dances, There are those night dances that used to happen in that village. So even before she could reach, she heard a song about her. Remember, before she got married, there were so many songs that were written in honor of her beauty and all that. So she loved hearing all these praises. But then after she got married, and after she got married to Matthew, those songs, people stopped singing about her. So this affected her self-esteem. So hearing a song about her made her really happy. So anyway, she went to visit her mom. Like, she went to her mother's village, and she bumped into Malinga, and she asked him what that song was about, and he told her, no, I'm glad you heard it, I still like you, na 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 na. So that conversation like really made her happy. She didn't realize that Malinga still found her attractive, even if she was married to another person. So time went on. Mwinji and Matthew were still not in good terms. They were still arguing over every small little thing. So then time to pay taxes came. Time to pay tax came. At this point, Malinga was a polygamous man. He was married to 2 women. So as per custom, he was supposed to pay for both his wives. So anyway, the tax collectors came, and not Malinga, sorry, Matthew was married to 2 women. He was supposed to pay tax for his second wife, Mwaka. So the tax collectors came, and Matthew was like, no, I'm not paying. If you want me to pay, you have to give me a proper reason as to why I'm paying for 2 of my women. I have no problem with paying, but just give me a valid reason as to why I'm paying. So that issue, because he had that history, remember when the Capasos, when he went to attack the Capaso, and the Capaso hit him and beat up his grandfather. So he already had that history before. So this issue became so big, it even ended up going to court. And in court, Matthew was representing himself, and the judge ruled against him, because remember, the judge was the very deputy governor. Deputy commissioner, sorry, not the deputy governor. The judge was a very deputy commissioner, so he obviously could not rule against, like according to in Matthew's favor. So he ruled against Matthew, and Matthew was then arrested. While he's in jail, Mwinji, I think a year, is it 2 years passed? I should think so. A year or 2 years passed. Mwinji got married to Malinga, and they had a son together, and that's how this novel ended. So I don't know if I rushed it, but that's how it ended. Mwinji, when Matthew got imprisoned, Mwinji got married to Malinga. Matthew received the letter, in fact, that no, your wife this side is married to Malinga, and they now have a son together. So at the end of it all, Malinga still ended up marrying Mwinji. I'm trying to understand why he named this novel Uneasy Yoke. Is it really an uneasy yoke? I think it is an uneasy yoke. So yeah, that's how this novel has ended. If you have novel suggestions, someone had said I should look at Old Man and the Meadow. I've been looking for that novel. I can't find it. So if you know where I can buy it from, especially in Lusaka, please let me know. Bye.